Barbie. I am a Barbie girl. Hori, I just want to, before we get into this, I just want to say you are Kenough.
I'm Kenneth.
You are Ken-uff.
Ken-uff. I don't.
Enough. Kenough.
Okay. I don't know
You
what
are
this
Kenough.
means.
Okay, so Barbie, as I said, I went to see Barbenheimer.
You did.
I did the Barbenheimer double. I would like to point out.
Did you dress
After...
pink?
No, I didn't. I am not that much fun. After the Barbenheimer weekend, although originally it felt like the internet was against my way of doing Barbie and Oppenheimer, as in doing it Barbie Oppenheimer, everyone who went Oppenheimer Barbie went, I wish I'd done it the other way around.
Oh.
So I think I was actually just ahead of the curve. And even afterwards, after we left Oppenheimer at like 10 o'clock on Sunday night, Jenna just went, I'm glad we saw Barbie first. I'm like, you are welcome.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. What I'm hearing from Oppenheimer is like, it was heavy. So
well,
like,
I don't know what anyone else expected.
No, well, we knew it, but like, I think people didn't quite grasp how it would make them feel. So like, the idea of doing Barbie after seemed okay, but I can imagine no one wants to deal with Barbie after that.
So a lot of people seem to think that Barbie was just going to be 100% fun.
Yeah,
and
apparently it's more serious than it
was going to be just depressing. I knew Barbie was going to have a serious undertone, and I knew Oppenheimer was going to crush my soul.
Well, yeah,
and I did not want to have my soul crushed to then think I'm going into a happy movie and have it destroyed again.
You're fair.
And I think I'm the only one who saw that coming.
Do you know what's great from like, because obviously you messaged in our little group thing that you got, it was like Barbie time. And I said I'd seen comments on Twitter, like people were like, the best thing of Barbenheimer is seeing people dressed in pink walk out of Oppenheimer with like 1,000-yard stare. And then you messaged me as you were like, was it after you, or when you were going into Barbie, you saw people coming out of Oppenheimer?
When we were getting ready to go into Oppenheimer, we saw people coming out of the previous Oppenheimer showing that
pink.
had like Barbenheimer t-shirts on and bright pink stuff on, and they just looked
soulless. Honestly.
Greta Gerwig is very, very talented. I've not seen any of her stuff before, but I will say this made me want to go and watch it because it is so damn good. The comedy hits, the visuals hit, the acting performances top to bottom are really, really good. I'm sure that anyone who spent any time on the internet will have seen that a lot of people are calling the film very anti-man.
Yeah,
it's not. This is the first genuinely feminist film I've come out of not feeling attacked.
I think the people that are saying it's anti-man are the men that are the issue.
So in reality, the main thread of the film is unironically, you've got Barbie world, you've got the real world. Barbie starts getting thoughts of existential crisis because a woman in the real world is so powerfully upset and is so inspired by Barbie that her emotions are seeping through into Barbie world.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So then Barbie has to travel to the real world to try and fix this issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Ken, because Ken has no personality other than I love Barbie.
Yeah.
Follows her.
Classic
and Ken feels lost and alone. Yeah. When Ken gets to the real world, he feels instantly validated and seen because it's a man's world.
Yeah.
So he goes to the school library because she thinks she's looking for a little girl, obviously.
Yeah.
It turns out to be that little girl's mother. And he finds books about the patriarchy. Barbie's like, I don't need your help here anymore, Ken. I need to help this girl solve her issues. So Ken's like, right, I've learnt this great thing. I'm going to go teach it to the other Kens. Obviously, Barbie has no idea that it's the patriarchy. So she just goes, yeah, that sounds great.
You do you.
So Ken goes back to Barbie World and institutes the patriarchy.
Okay.
Now, because Barbie World has never had to deal with the negatives of the patriarchy, essentially no one is prepared for it, which means that all of the Barbies think it's great because they haven't
They don't.
thought about it, and it kind of puts them under like a spell, is the way it's described.
How the patriarchy started.
Yes. So then Barbie and the lady are running away from Will Smith, who plays the CEO of Mattel. Not Will Smith, Will Ferrell.
I was going to say Will Smith. I was like, wait,
Will
what?
Ferrell.
Okay.
Will Ferrell. Once again, playing an evil toy CEO.
He's got a type.
It's a weird type. Anyway, so they come back in. They see the patriarchy's ruined everything, and they slowly win it back. Here's the thing: at the end, even though Ken's come very close to essentially destroying Barbie World, it's not a "you're terrible, how dare you try and do this." Barbie realizes that actually none of the Barbies knew where the Kens lived. So all the Barbies lived in their dream house on a road.
Yeah.
And the little girl, or not little girl, she's like a tween, says, "Where do the Kens live?" And she's like, "Oh, I never thought about that." Yeah. So it showed that the Kens were neglected.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, they get one seat in a position in the Barbie government.
Nice.
And obviously the men are like, "Oh look, they gave them no power." It's like, no, it's literally like the equivalent to what women are dealing with in our world.
Yeah.
But Ryan Gosling's Ken, who caused all the problems in Barbie World, is forgiven. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't even realize." My favorite line. This is gonna crack you up.
Okay.
I got bored of the patriarchy once I realized it wasn't about horses. But he felt trapped by it because he'd already started it.
What the fuck?
So when he first found the book had cowboys on the cover.
Right.
So he thought the patriarchy was about just horses and
being
men.
a cowboy.
Yeah.
And
what
we all wanted to be as kids.
Exactly. And he's like, once I realized it wasn't about horses, I didn't want to do it anymore, but it was too late. And then the main bit at the end ends up being about "you are enough." Because the whole thing is and we saw it in some of the shots, when they're getting their mugshot taken once they're in the real world. You know, it said Barbie and Ken. So that actually is a genuine plot point. He's like, I'm just Ken. You're Barbie and I'm Ken. And she's like, no, you are Ken. It's Barbie and Ken.
Got you.
So basically the entire point is you've got to be content within yourself and not base your entire existence around something else. Which is a big problem with toxic masculinity, men basing their entire worth off of the women that love them, their families, their jobs, whatever, instead of being a three-dimensional person.
Yeah.
So obviously I can only talk about what I took away from it as a man. A lot of the stuff is directed towards a woman, as is fucking right, but the film is phenomenal, genuinely phenomenal. The only thing that concerns me is Greta Gerwig alongside Christopher Nolan both deserve to be up for Best Director Oscar.
Only one can win.
If Greta Gerwig wins, the internet is going to be vile because they're not going to view it as proper cinema in the same way they view Christopher Nolan, but it fucking is.
Yeah.
I cannot remember going to the cinema and seeing that many groups of women, mothers and daughters all so happy to be together and going to see a film. Never seen it the way that was that day, and that was actually so nice. But yeah, everyone can do better. Everyone needs to stop being so hard on themselves, and everyone needs to be more forgiving. It is such a positive film.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of good things, and I mean the box office income. It's made money. The only
I think it's had the second biggest Monday ever.
Something like that. The only negative thing I saw about it that seems like a valid negative thing was some complaints that it didn't do enough to talk about the negative effects that Barbie as a brand has had on women. Some people felt like it brought up the points, but it never actually like did anything about
I
addressing them.
think
But
so.
I
It
think
brought up the
that's
points definitely, but instead of kind of addressing them, it was kind of like a case of, "Oh, you've misunderstood what we wanted Barbie to be," which, of course, when the film has to be greenlit by Mattel.
well,
Like,
yeah,
put it this way: yes,
yeah,
they could have been more critical. I'm amazed Mattel let as much
well, yeah.
slide as they did.
That's the thing. I think it's valid that people have that issue with it, but I think those people do need to kind of remember this is a Barbie film. Like
Yeah.
Barbie's only going to let them slander themselves so much.
Mattel took a number of shots to the chin like a champion. Like, you know me, I'm never one to like, what's the word? Give a compliment to a major organization that
Yeah,
makes a fuck
Corp.
ton of money. I'm not that kind of guy. I'll give them their dues. They took some shots to the chin like some champs.
I think
Bearing
they
in
had
mind
to
this
in
was
a way.
their film.
Yeah, but I have heard good things.
If you want to have 2 relatively fun hours that will leave you feeling like you've received a message as well, there's worse ways to do it.